Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Friday with the Fellas finale show of Prim and Proper Sports. I am your host, Sonia. Tonight is December 26, 2025, and we'll exchange our holiday greetings with you momentarily. I just wanted to come on and take this moment to dedicate tonight's show to my paternal grandmother, Lady Inez Pearson Walker, known as Mama. She's the one that raised my sister and I, and we were very fortunate to have her. Tonight, literally around this time, is the night that we lost her literally half my life ago. So I just want to dedicate tonight's show to her. I want to make a toast with her with some good old Coke and Sun Kiss, and to start tonight's show and let her know she is loved and missed. The holidays have not been the same without her. Without further ado, let me introduce my guys, B Strilla and J Train of the Fellas. I hope you guys will join me here soon. Here they come. Guys, good evening. Merry Christmas.
Good evening, good evening. Merry Christmas to everybody. Sonia, D Strilla, the fans, everybody out there. Hope you enjoyed your holiday.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for allowing me that moment to give a heavenly shout out to my grandmother and my mama. I credit her with so much of what I am today and who I am and where I am. And these football games and the holidays just have not been the same for the last few years, but we're getting there. You know, it's one day at a time, guys. How was you all's holidays?
Well, speaking of people that have passed from our lives, that are my mom passed away on December the 6th of 2015. So this would be basically her 10-year anniversary of her homegoing. So
I'm so sorry. Yes, and Jay, I know you all
loss is bad during this time for a lot of people.
Yeah, the holidays really. And J Train, I know your mom is also transcended as well. So that's just something we have in common. And I really appreciate the support from you guys. And also, because this is our final show of 2025, we are going to dedicate it to Mac, our great producer in the sky. He had a birthday earlier this year, but as you all know, Mac transitioned this spring after a valiant battle with cancer. So Miss Linda, we're thinking of you. It's the reason why we have the common thread that we all share. And Strilla, great job on revamping the network. Shout out to Pink Fan Fur for the dedication reel that she put together in the show tonight. And guys, we're in week 17. This is it. This is it. As which I can't remember if it's Eddie Murphy or in like we on deck. We on deck. We next. This is it. This is it. We're going to start off with yesterday's games. B, I will give you the segue because the Lions were sadly eliminated from playoff contentions. But before we go there as well, thank you in advance for all the support to Pearson Jones, my niece, in her Jabberwock journey. We're doing that initiative throughout the remainder of the winter. Actually, we'll go through the end of February. So B, thanks for that promo as well. But let's talk about those Lions. I'm going to be honest, I really am disappointed. I felt like the Lions were my team because I just really see where they were last year and not missing a lot, but just did not get it done this year.
I mean, it happens. I mean, they had a lot of injuries. They could never get the coordinators well, the defensive coordinator was fine, but he had a lot of injuries on his side. Then, you know, Dan Campbell, I think this is the time to shed light on Dan Campbell, and we lost Sonia as far as the pitcher's concerned.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. I got you. Okay. So anyway, yeah, I think Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes got to kind of look within themselves. I think there's a lot of egotistical things going on this season with both of them. You got to make the team better. I think Brad Holmes is we good thing has got to go. No, you're not good, obviously, because you didn't make the playoffs and you were supposed to. You had a team to make a playoffs, put it that way. And with Dan taking the play calling away from Morton when Morton was doing fine, That's just the ego thing. Dude, just leave stuff alone. You're a coach. You're a head coach. You're not an offensive play caller. And that's been offensive, calling the offense. So, they just got. Yeah, the struggle bus was here this year. It all started from the interior line. Once they had gotten rid of, once Ragnow retired and then they let Mettler go, that line was never the same. So all you got to do is regroup. So if they can regroup, they'll be fine. There's next year. They can fix some things. They'll be fine next year. Good teams, have bad years, and great teams come back the next year. So we'll see what happens. Kind of glad they didn't make the playoffs. They wouldn't have made it far, that's for sure. They would have got put out in the first round.
I just feel like maybe once Dan Quinn took over the play calling, Jay Train, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, B, I hear everything that you're saying. I'm just disappointed, particularly in your team, because they are extremely talented. They're extremely talented in all facets. I mean, that defense in this last game, what's his name? What's the Hutch? He was after the quarterback. He was playing with his hair on fire. Mm-hmm. But offensively, man, it's just, obviously the injuries play a role in everybody's game at this juncture of the year. Everybody's having a hard time. You got to look at, to have some sort of explanation for this free fall for such a talented team as the Lions right now, it's got to be on it, like you said, on the coach, man. I just think that it's not just Dan Campbell, though. I just think part of it is it's not a coincidence that the Bears have ascended. The Bears have ascended with Ben Johnson, and with the departure of Ben Johnson, and to a lesser extent, Aaron Glenn gone. It hurt your team a little bit. I think it hurt your team a little bit, and they got to figure out a way to revamp next year, because again, you guys still have a relatively young team, but some of these guys are going to start needing contracts, and you're going to start losing some players. Your window, somebody said the window's closed. I don't think so. I think you got maybe 1 or 2 more good years with this group right now, and you got to take advantage of it. And it all starts with Dan Campbell, like you said, not being as ego driven as he has been this past year, and allow the coordinator, or if you get another offensive coordinator in there, if you don't keep the one that you have, and allow them to do their job. Because again, the weapons are there. And this is disappointing. You're 8-8, still better than my team, but 8-8, and a team that probably should have been competing for high playoff rankings or a Super Bowl. And it's, again, a disappointment for that team.
Yeah, I agree. Because and now that you mention that, Jay Train, it makes a lot of sense. We finally saw the absence of the OC and DC. We kept wondering where we would see that, because the team looked good. And they still look really good, in my opinion, but they are not 15-2 like they were last year. And it comes down to that. It's the OC and DC were promoted to head coaches to other teams. B, don't you agree?
The OC, that point is kind of overdriven. Mm-hmm. They still were leading the league in points scored and total points this year at a point, not after yesterday's game, but they were first or second in both of those categories the whole year. And your team, the talent on your team makes your offense. Okay. Ben Johnson didn't have the adversity that this team has this year with the offensive line. So to say, Ben Johnson was the issue, that they're not doing really good offensively, which, again, they were doing good offensively. It had nothing to do with it. In fact, Goff had one of his best seasons without Ben Johnson. So I'm not putting Ben Johnson in that. I'm not even putting AG in there either, because I think Shep is a better defensive coordinator. Again, there's all kinds of things that happened this year that were not foreseen. And I really think that it starts with the coaches. I think the coaches, Dan Campbell drives these guys during training camp. Drives them. And that takes effect during the course of the season where these players get hurt or they're not up to that function. It's fine when you start them off because you want to set a culture with the team. But after a certain time, you got to let them reins go and let the team be a team, because then you have established everybody on there. And this is where I think Dan Campbell needs to sit back, look at himself in the mirror and said, what could I have done better for this team? I'm not saying he doesn't do that, but this is a year he really looked like he needs to let go a little bit of things. And the whole taking a play calling away from John Morton, when John Morton really didn't deserve that I knew that was going to be a self-destruction thing anyway, because Dan Campbell can't really call anything. People say, oh, when their stats went up. I say, yeah, but what happened to their wins and losses? That's what a coach is graded on, wins and losses. He was 3-5, whereas John Morton was 5-3. Figure that out. And the offense was bad too, so it got worse over the course because all these injuries are mounting up. So it is what it is. I mean, they just got to get better, and hopefully they can win another game so they can have a winning record this year, and then go to it on the off season. Good luck to other teams that are in the playoffs. Hey, you guys deserve it.
Yeah, and congratulations to Pink Fanfur. Getting it done here with she says Black and Blue Friday. Thank you, Pink. Let me just back up just a little bit. So I haven't been live with you guys for the last couple of weeks. So thank you for holding it down while I was off. I did watch part of the last show. Couldn't catch the first one because I was out of network. But thank you all for holding it down for me. As y'all know, I was in the NO. I was in J Train's neck of the woods, and Jay is there now for the holidays. In the NO, and what made me bring it up was the fact that the Vikings were playing for nothing. New Orleans was playing for nothing. Those teams in the divisional rivalries, they get no better pleasure than making sure someone is taken out of the playoffs. Now, granted, somebody got to go from your division. Somebody has to go. And right now, the Panthers needed that win against New Orleans. They should have won the one in Charlotte. So I will say, because I was at that game and had my eye on the prize, the Panthers should have won that game in New Orleans even Sunday. They had a well enough lead the majority of the game, 17-9 going into the fourth quarter. They got comfortable. They felt like they had the game won. I mean, I felt like they had it won. I was talking a lot of junk, and they lost. I will say this, however, the NFL came out and stated the catch that T-Mac had, that would have been a touchdown, was called back, and they admitted that they got that call wrong. Go figure. That's how it goes. Somebody always missed this crucial catch. Go back to Dez Bryant and all these other people and the Rams and everybody else and the Saints and whoever that gets cheated when it counts the most. And Tyler Shuck went out there and said that he sold a hit that really wasn't that substantial, where they brought Spencer Rattler in, where the Saints got the first down and was able to get in field goal range and freaking kick a field goal to win the game. And with that, all of that I say, because everybody, if I was a Saints fan, I'd be like, no, it was fair. No, it was fair. That's why you don't need to play games this close. You don't need to play games close enough where it comes down to whether or not you were cheated in the end. Because if you play the game all four quarters, thoroughly play them, you don't have to worry about one call and not that's all. So I enjoyed myself there. It got super cold. I actually got frostbite, like really bad frostbite that night. It was 31 degrees in New Orleans after the game. I couldn't believe it. I didn't go down there with no winter clothes, had to Instacart a thermal. It was crazy. But Jay, I'll let you get like a little small plug. Not a lot, because you smile really big and I don't like it. But you were watching the game at home, and I'm sure you just were thrilled.
Without a doubt.
For that tiny victory. I mean, you guys have to turn it around.
We're turning it around right now, but I mean, it's too late this season. But the optimism, like Drew Brees used to say, being cautiously optimistic is where I'm at right now. And to go back to that hit, regardless of whether he sold it or not, it was a illegal hit. It was a correct call. You can't get around that. He hit him head to head. His head hit his head, and he slid. I mean, but either way, it was a fair call. Now, mind you, a questionable call for the Tedero McMillan catch. It was questionable, but there was no way I could see why if they called it a catch, it probably should have not been called because there was no so strong evidence to suggest that it wasn't a catch. It did when I watched it. It looked like it wasn't a catch, but then it looked like he fumbled the ball, and as he was going out of bounds, he held on to it. But it wasn't even a touchdown though. It was still just out of bounds. It was not to continue a drive. But with that said, again, I like the song that they got for the quarterback. They're getting shut tonight. They're getting shut tonight. The Panthers getting shut tonight.
They use a Gunna song and remixing the words like that. Wow. Gunna, I am so sorry if you ever hear this song is being wasted on that. I'm so sorry.
It's a hit now, and everybody's loving it, particularly down there. And I just think that they have this draft for the 2020. I'm gonna leave it short. The 2025 draft class for New Orleans has and a lot of half those guys are playing and they're starting, and they're sending New Orleans in the right direction. And I can't wait for 2026 to show up.
Well, congratulations to y'all for your tiny wins towards the end of the season. I'm glad. I wish y'all had kept Spencer Rattler at least through the one game that we met with you guys before y'all decided to go with him. God, with Shuck. Other teams that were yesterday's NFC East matchup, neither one of those teams were playing for anything. Dallas had already been eliminated, and they played pretty tough, like they had something to really play for against the Commanders. 30-23. Commanders started coming back towards the end. The Cowboys had the lead most of that game, and they thought they had a slim wild card hope flickering because you just never know what's going to go on, while effectively ending Washington's divisional dreams. They never were there with the injury to Jaden Daniels and Terry Scary throughout the season. It just was one of those things. Moving on to this next game that everybody and their mom, I think sometimes the media hypes up stuff so much that they almost push a team or an individual or player, what have you, to make a certain decision. And that's the Broncos-Chiefs game. I mean, everybody was talking about Travis Kelce. We've talked about it a few times, whether or not this is his last season. Of course, his brother retired a couple of seasons ago. They talk about it off and on the podcast. He and Jason have a podcast together. Of course, Travis is now engaged to Taylor Swift, a billionist herself, and he's made his mark on the league. But Patrick Mahomes goes down with his season-ending injury and likely not to come back for a majority of next season because of the severity of his injury here, the Achilles. And, it's just like, hey, is this Travis's last time being on the field? They're zeroing in on Mama Kelce, saying, oh, her eyes are telling it all, things like that. 13-20, Bo Nix led a late 14-play scoring drive, capped by a touchdown pass to R.J. Harvey. Denver's defense stifled KC, I'm about to say KFC, putting the Broncos on the verge of the number one seed, of course, right behind the New England Patriots. What were you guys' thoughts on that game? I mean, we really don't look at them like that, but is this likely Travis's last game?
You probably should have called them KFC because they're cooked. I mean, they are fried chicken right now, and and unfortunately, I mean, both their quarterbacks, their ACL, both tore ACLs, and it's just, which is unfortunate. I've had both my knees repaired with ACL repairs, and it's not fun. So yeah, like you said, Travis. I mean, not Travis, but both those quarterbacks are going to have a lot of time to recover, and that's about a year or so. Between 9 to 12 months or so is recovery. And so that's going to be a little tough for him to come back, but I'm pretty sure Patrick will probably try to push forward to come back a little bit sooner, into the season, but it'll probably be like mid to late season that he'll come back. With that said, what does Kelsey have to play for? He's got 3 rings. He's got 3 rings. He's got a Hall of Fame career that's already solidified. I mean, other than the love of the game and continue to play, I don't know. I mean, this is not the way he wants to go out with his quarterback injured, and they just, they didn't make the playoffs this year for the first time in a long time. Maybe he wants to come back for one last hurrah, but it's going to be tough. They're going to need a veteran quarterback to come in to play and spell those games that are going to be missed by Patrick Mahomes. So I don't know. If it were me, this is my own opinion, I'd go on and retire. I'd go off into the sunset. You ain't got nothing to cry about. Again, you got 3 rings. And again, if he retires right now, 2030, he's first ballot. I guarantee you he's going in immediately. It's always 5 years after you retire that you're eligible to become a Hall of Famer. He's going to go in first ballot without a doubt. So, if it were me, I would retire, but I don't know if he's going to do that. I don't know. I think he might want to come back for one more year.
I mean, it takes a certain person to be a football player. And let me tell you something. Me, and I haven't even been on that professional level. I mean, playing high school football was hard enough. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, the thing that he goes through that every year, he's already run 3 rings. Like you said, he's already one of the most vaunted tight ends in NFL history. He's left his legacy there. I mean, if I was him, I wouldn't want to go. I would retire. I mean, I'm getting married to, my wife's has more money than I do. We ain't going to be hurting, and our kids aren't going to be hurting for a long time. So that's really what it counts. You want to be around for your kids. You want to be around just to be around. You know what I'm saying? And Kelsey is a special type of dude, though. And you're right. You never know with him. But if I was in his shoes, I'd definitely be retired because I did everything. There's nothing else I can do. So
he could literally play Frank Sinatra, I Did It My Way. So I guess now, and you guys have like revisionist history here. Last year, this time, we were talking about whether or not the Chiefs were our new dynasty team, our new dynasty, our new Patriots. And look, lo and behold, Drake May seems to be the answer that the Patriots needed as they sit atop of the AFC. Let's talk about some big games here coming up. The AFC race, let me segue into that. Denver is 12-3 right now, guys, following their Christmas win over the Chiefs. They have a stronghold it's a strange stronghold over the AFC West. They can clinch the number 1 seed and the first round bye this weekend with a combined win, losses by the Patriots and the Bills, who are right on their heels. Not far behind them, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Everyone who doubted and counted Aaron Rodgers out, who is no longer the oldest quarterback, thanks to Philip Rivers, who is now back in the league at the tail end of the season. They are 9-6, and as the Steelers fans like to always say, they never had a non-winning season. They are there. They have a 91% chance of making the postseason with a win over the Browns on Sunday. They will clinch the AFC North and a playoff berth. And let's not count out too much. The Baltimore Ravens, even though they're on life support, they can beat the Packers, who Jordan Love is out with concussion injury this Sunday. They can stay in with a win over the Packers tomorrow night, Saturday night, to keep their AFC North race alive. If they lose, Pittsburgh will win the division automatically and immediately, guys. And then, of course, the last team we're watching is the Jacksonville Jaguars. 11-4. Trevor Lawrence is lit like a match down there in the South. They can clinch the South this Sunday with a win over the Colts, which probably will happen, and a Texans loss. Guys, your thoughts over the AFC playoff picture?
Well, Baltimore is not going to have Lamar Jackson. So,
that is right. Let's talk about those injuries. Baltimore is not going to have Lamar Jackson. He's listed as doubtful with a lower back contusion. Without him, the Ravens' playoffs hopes rest on the backup Josh Johnson. We saw him come in and get a little bit of something done. Green Bay's Jordan Love is on concussion protocol for the NFC, but he did practice limitedly today. He's a game time decision for Saturday, which is tomorrow.
Jordan Love? Jordan Love is out.
So he's going to be out. The Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown missed practice, wisdom teeth surgery, but he's expected to play. Lane Johnson, the right tackle, is questionable. The 49ers, Fred Warner, everybody's been hyping him up to come back. He's out for the regular season, but there are reports that he could make a visible interest with the postseason push for the deep playoff run. And Kansas City, as we see there already, they lost wide receiver Rashee Rice and wide receiver Tyquan Thornton to concussions during yesterday's game. So the AFC, let's go back to that. I had to plug all those injuries in that I knew about right away. What do you guys see with Steelers? Just everybody. We know Lamar's out. Are the Ravens basically going to be out at this point with that?
Pretty much.
So Huntley is the backup. He spelled Lamar, was it last year or the year before last, where he actually came in and won a couple of games for them. So he's got some experience to where he can actually come in and give them an opportunity. But just this whole season has been really just a downer for the Ravens. And I just don't know. I think this may be a situation where not only did Kansas City get knocked out of the playoffs, the Ravens may be knocked out this year too. And it's just not just because Lamar is out, but there's some other issues that they're talking about with Lamar Jackson and the coach, and some of the issues that are coming out that the beat writer there that's been there for like 25 plus years has been good on his word about a lot of things. He's been consistent. Supposedly there's some information that was leaked out about Lamar not being a true team player, meaning he's falling asleep in meetings. He's staying up late playing video games, which is not a big deal. I mean, a lot of people stay up late to do all kind of stuff. But the falling asleep in meetings is a big deal. Wanting practices in the afternoon versus in the morning. A lot of demands and stuff like that, and not doing the things that will just push him beyond his talents, meaning not just leaning upon your talents. Because now you're saying he's a guy that doesn't go into the weight room, doesn't do any like strength training and stuff like that. So his conditioning is coming to question. These are a lot of things that are like can cause the whole locker room to just be totally divided, and the team to just go south if the coach don't get everything together. And John Harbaugh has come out and said that we have a great relationship, because there's questions about their relationship as well, that John is getting tired of him. And now there's a lot of people speculating, like, where can Lamar go to be traded? You know how people want to do with the news. I don't know if he's going to get traded or not. And if anything, there's a question about who would go. Would it be John Harbaugh or would it be Lamar Jackson? I think they would keep Lamar Jackson, but I think the issue is he have to do, if these things are legit, these are all alleged things that are out there. If this is legit, does he get better and right the ship? And I mean, again, we're talking about a 2-time MVP here. So I'm not really like holding water to me. But with that said, something is amiss here. And I mean, obviously, Lamar has had like 5 or so injuries this season, and you don't really have a true backup backup plan in place, because Lamar is the plan. He's the plan. He's what drives the engine here. And so I just think that, like, be agreed, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year. I just think it's done. Because, I mean, Lamar is doubtful. That's another thing. They say if somebody was in true condition, strength and condition, could they have gone with a bruised back? Unless you're saying it's contused, not bruised. If it was contused, then you would question to say, okay, he can't come in. But why can't he play with a bruised back? I mean, look at Matt Stafford. He had his disc was spinning at the beginning of the season, probably still is, and he playing lights out. So the question is going to be, why can't you play? And then there's also some speculation also that he did the same thing when he was trying to get a new contract year. And I think they're saying that it might be the case that he's trying to get more money out of them again, and he's not trying to play unless that gets fixed. Again, this is all speculatory, but it's out there.
Yeah, I mean, even if it is speculatory, it really doesn't paint Lamar in a good light either. I mean, John Harbaugh is not a fault of this either. He should have been gone, to tell you the truth. I don't even know why they haven't fired him yet, because he's had a lot of questionable calls during the The Henry thing, the last game that they played, they sat him out the whole fourth quarter after he was killing people. Not literally, but I'm just saying he was out there running people over. Dude, that's bad play calling. You cannot do that and think that you're going to win games. I don't understand that. I'm not getting that whole situation in Baltimore.
They have a lot of they're doing this discipline stuff. You know, like kind of like there was a game, I think with the Chiefs or somebody earlier on. If somebody gets into a skirmish or whatever before the game, so you rather risk losing this game, putting your big people in to try to teach these players a lesson. Yeah. And I'm like, you got to have another way of dealing with that. Like, you have to have another way when you're putting your team. Yeah. Like, you're putting a team
away from him.
He did fumble in the game, I believe, right?
Yeah. But I mean, in the fourth quarter when they needed him, and I think that was earlier in the game, but in the fourth quarter when they needed him, they didn't put him out there. And he just got, I think that was just after the play, the drive before when he scored a touchdown. When he, like I said, he was running over everybody. He's been doing a good job the whole game. Yet the fumble is going to happen. Henry's just getting to that point in his age where the ball is starting to become more slippery to him. What can I say? But the dude still
those fumbles. He's dominant when he runs the ball, but he's had some key fumbles that have cost him games. And I'm not going to say that you don't put him back in the game, but he's had this fumble. I mean, the one early in the first game of the year against Buffalo, that cost him the game. And but to be 31, he's rushed for 1,253 yards and 12 TDs. So he's still balling out. Don't get me wrong. So you're right. I still would have just took the risk because I mean, why not? I mean, you lost anyway.
You're playing for your season.
You're playing for your season, right? So yeah. I agree.
So, I mean, everything's got to be on the line when you're playing for your season. It's sad that it got to that point. But, I mean, also in some other news, too, Indianapolis might get back Sauce Gardner. So this weekend for the Jacksonville game. So that'll be good for Sauce to get back out there. But, yeah, even though it really doesn't make a difference to me who comes out to AFC North. Because they're going to be one and done. They can't beat anybody. None of those teams in there can beat anybody. They can make them competitive, sure, but I just can't see them beating. I can't see them advancing past the first round, whether it's Baltimore or Pittsburgh.
It's AFC East or AFC West.
Yeah, it's definitely either of those two. That's going to be the representation of the Super Bowl. I mean, hey, I'm looking.
Not gonna lie, like Outkast on the when Outkast was on the record, they were talking about East and West Coast rap. Outkast said the South got something to say about that too. So maybe the AFC South has something to say about representing the AFC in the playoffs because Jacksonville and Houston look like they're coming. They're for real.
You don't want to see Houston in the playoffs if you draw them, because if they catch fire on the offense, you can forget it.
Only problem is that they got to catch fire. They got to run the ball.
Yeah.
When you have a defense like that, you got to be consistent on your offensive side of the ball because they just haven't been. To me, if there's an Achilles heel with Houston, it's got to be their run game. And I think a big part of that is not having a Joe Mixon all season. And that was because last year he's the one that really held them down when they were having issues. Joe Mixon was a big part of that offense. And so they show that they miss him there. But don't get me wrong, the quarterback has been playing a lot better. He's got his weapons back, and so I think C.J. Stroud has an opportunity to be successful because the defense is going to give more opportunities to keep drives going.
Yeah, I think they need another. I'm not a big fan of Christian Kirk. I think they do need to have another receiver come next year that is a stand-up number 2, because we know Nico Collins is the one. And Christian Kirk, to me, he's like a 3. He's not even a 2 anymore. He wasn't that good in Jacksonville. He made all his fame when he was in playing for Vegas. But they just need another receiver too. That's another thing. They need to get
2 guys out of Iowa State, Jaden Higgins and Forgot the
Yeah,
other kid's
they're
name,
playing
but
okay,
they're
but
decent.
they're
And
guys
they're
that
going to
come
have
off the
back the.
bench.
Hopefully, they have back the wide receiver that got severely hurt last year. Tank was the kid's
Yeah,
name.
Tank Dell. You know what? When you have so many injuries like that within a compressed amount of time, I'm not really hopeful for him coming back, to tell you the truth. They need to go somewhere. I mean, he was dynamic when he played, but he had two extraordinary injuries in back-to-back seasons. I just can't see that happen. Him coming back full strength on that one. Like I said, probably get a running back in the draft or because if Mixon doesn't come back, that's another guy too that I was kind of disappointed in that he didn't make the season. And they kind of were shaky about starting him and when he was able to play, and he just kept getting hurt. So Houston, they can do well. They can be a force. This is the year, though. They have that defense on point. And if C.J. Stroud can go back to his rookie season and his Ohio State days, minus playing Michigan, but Ohio State days out there playing ball, they can go. They can go far. They can go far because that dude is he's a legitimate quarterback. He's just having some issues.
So we were talking about the representation of the AFC going into the Super Bowl. I said it's probably B said it's not going to come out of the North. I said you're right. It's probably going to come out of either the East or the West. But I said it's like the like Biggie and Tupac at the Source Awards. I said.
Oh yeah,
Outcast coming out of the South. Outcast coming out of the South saying, "Hey, the South got something to say about that too." So I said, AFC South got Houston and Jacksonville might have something to say about that.
The South.
It's amazing to have Houston back in the talks of playoff contentions. It's a we kind of thought like, and sorry y'all, like my camera just did what it wanted to do. I didn't put the backdrop. I didn't remove myself. I didn't do none of that. I'm just sitting here like, what's going on? But anyway, we thought they were like, it's literally a tale of two teams, kind of like the opposite of Detroit. Like last year, the Texans were not even there. Kind of like my Panthers. We weren't there in the season before that. We only had won 2 games, and we're in playoff talks. But now the Texans are back. C.J. Stroud seems to be back, but I'm not sold on them going deep into the playoffs. I feel like if you're looking for someone from one of the southern regions, it would be Jacksonville.
Duval.
To basically go Duval. But as much as I really don't want to say it because I'm still reeling over the shellacking that the Panthers took to the Patriots at the beginning of the season, we may be looking at the Patriots going all the way. I think they're the ones that could take care of the Broncos. I think those are the top 2 teams. I don't think the Bills are the ones to go all the way. I'm sorry, Bills fans, but once I saw them kind of fall to Miami in one of these broke clock is right twice a day type situations, I felt like they didn't have it to go all the way. So I think it's going to be Denver or New England that represents the AFC if the Jaguars don't take one of those teams out. Let's talk about NFC a little bit, guys. Seattle Seahawks, Sam Darnold, who is our former quarterback, Jets former quarterback, backup quarterback to the Rams or somebody. They're 12-3. They're sitting on the top of the NFC.
Vikings started for the Vikings.
Yeah, like we started for the Vikings. NFC's number 1 team. They clinched the NFC West this week if they win over Carolina, plus losses and ties by the Rams and 49ers. Chicago Bears right behind them, 11-4. Can clinch the NFC North with a win over the 49ers on Sunday Night Football or a Packers loss to the Ravens. That game is going to be a toss-up with both quarterbacks being out, Packers and Ravens, in my opinion. The Philadelphia Eagles, who struggled throughout the season, but are still at the top of the NFC East. They've already clinched that. They're playing for a seeding that's going to see them into the playoffs here. And then the Panthers, the number 4 seed. My favorite number is 4. Everybody knows that. My birthday's on the 4th. A whole bunch of 4s in my life. We're 8-7, but we're there. We clinched the NFC South this Sunday with a playoff spot with a win over Seattle and a Buccaneers loss. The only thing about that really scares me is say we secure this playoff spot, we turn right back around and face Seattle again in elimination, the first playoff game
in Seattle.
And for me, that is terrifying because you're playing the same team back to back. Like, well, with the exception of week 18. But I'm just saying in Seattle because they have the higher ranking. And it's just wild to me. But I will say this. In a very rare occurrence, say that my Panthers lose out the remainder of the season. The Falcons win out the remainder of the season. And Tampa Bay, I think they also lose out. Like, in other words, it's a three-way tie in the South. It's so weird because the only way the Panthers would be superseded over the Falcons is because they swept them. But if you mix in the Saints, who is the same record, I believe, as the Falcons are right now, or maybe a game apart, the South is basically what I'm getting at. It's still a toss-up. It's still a toss-up. We have to win out, and then we have to play our last two games.
Hold up. Toss-up for what? Toss-up for what?
The division.
Well, Atlanta can't win that division anyway. They're eliminated, so it doesn't make a difference.
Well,
you can all go ham and not win any games, and they'll still be in.
Well, I get what Sonya is saying, meaning
if they don't,
even though like the Saints have been eliminated,
right.
The Falcons have been eliminated, but the Saints have won 3 games within the division, and they have lost, so they're tied for number 1 with the division games, not for the total.
Right.
So if we win the last game against the Falcons, we're going to be 4-2 in the division, but we're still eliminated from the playoffs. So.
But say in a rare occasion, well, it can't really happen with Tampa and Carolina because they play each other. But say Tampa loses Sunday, unfortunately we lose Sunday, and then we beat Tampa, then we win because we've swept Tampa. But it's still so close that it's a toss-up. I was looking at like some modularizing of the scenarios, and it's just
all you got to be concerned about is beating Tampa Bay the last game of the season. That's it. There's really no science to that because one of y'all have to win that division. If Tampa Bay wins, well, you're going to be hit. But I don't see them winning that game, to tell you the truth. I think Tampa Bay is just they're passed out right now. They're basically doing their version of the Lions right now.
Well, if the Panthers
you think they're going to lose against Miami?
I don't know about that.
Because if that happens, and Carolina beats, if Carolina beats Seattle, and that happens, they win the division right off the top.
Sorry, Sonya, I don't think Carolina's going to beat Seattle, but you are going to beat Tampa Bay when you play them. That's all.
Stranger things have happened. I mean, Carolina beat the Rams in Carolina.
Yes, sir. And for that reason, either Sunday we clinch the South and get ready to get tired of me, or the next week we clinch the South. And I'm not saying this because we're all on here together. I'm just saying, for me as a fan, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that we are in playoff talks. I thought we would improve. I always have the mindset that, hey, we're going to win even when we're bad.
Hold up, Sonya. We had this conversation at the beginning of the season. You were the one that said they're going to go. I can see 11 games coming out of there.
I said that, but for it to happen, that was just me pumping my team up. I said the same thing last year. Jay Trey will tell you, he's been on the show with me
about the Lions.
3 seasons. Yeah, but the Lions proved it. The Panthers didn't. They had 2-12 season before last. Last season they won 5 games.
No, I was saying that they should be 11-4. They didn't prove that. They didn't come nowhere near 11-4. I'd say Carolina might be 9-8 or 10-7, which is pretty much close to what's happening.
Yeah, I think I had us at 6. I'll have to go back to the group chat. But like I said, most of the time when I talk about the Panthers, y'all know it's just me hyping us up. I'm still shocked and happy. That's why I tell people get ready, get tired of me. And I will not go to the Seattle game because I'm too terrified that I'll jinx it. So I thought about it, but I'm not because I see what happened when I went to New Orleans. I don't want to do that. So, but I'm still excited because it's been 10 years since we've been here. 10 years. This is our 10th year since we made a Super Bowl run. And coincidentally, we opened our season with Jacksonville that same season. And all I'm going to say is this. If by chance we win the South and we start going deep into the playoffs, nobody's going to want to see me. The trash talk is going to be like a dumpster. I'm just going to let it go. But anyway, let's move on. Seattle. So let's talk about the NFC race. What are you guys' thoughts? We talked a little bit about the Panthers. Let's talk about Chicago and the Philadelphia Eagles. What those two divisions look like for the NFC race.
Let me just start by saying and I'm not trying to put your guys' divisions down, but the AFC East, I don't see Philadelphia going back to the Super Bowl. They might get put out in the first round. They're not that good of a team this year. They're having troubles with their offensive coordinator too. I don't understand how you just can't just regurgitate what you did last year, but whatever. And in the South, it's just the NFC West is so top heavy with really good teams right now.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard. In Chicago will show me something. If they beat San Francisco on the road, then Chicago will show me something. I still don't have faith in Chicago either. I think our division, anybody coming from our division, ain't nobody in the NFC North. Even if Detroit made the playoffs, I'm saying this, even if Detroit made the playoffs, nobody from that division is going to represent the NFC. They're just not. They're not strong enough teams. And the Packers are through because they lost Micah Parsons basically, and they got a few players on their team that are just not in good shape. So they should get put out in the first round. I think Chicago will probably have a home game. That'll be the only saving grace they'll have to see if they can win a game. But they're going to eventually be put out too. I think it's going to come down to Seattle, the Rams, and maybe San Francisco. And San Francisco is showing some grit for real. They are really playing good with the injuries that they have. That dude should win Coach of the Year. Kyle Shanahan, Coach of the Year right there.
But Falcons fans say he'll never win in San Francisco after that playbook. You know, Falcons fans, and what's up, Michael, are definitely over that. J-Train, what were you about to say?
So the crazy thing, what's going on? The crazy thing about the NFC West is that two of those, as big as those records are for all three of those teams, only one can win a division, and the other two are going to be low seeds. So if you're a division winner in another division, you're scared because you're going to see one of those teams in your first game. You're going to see San Francisco. Let's just say if the playoffs started now, the bye will be given to Seattle, and San Francisco and Los Angeles would be a 4 and the 7th seed, I think, excuse me, not a 4, but a 5th and a 6th seed, maybe a 5th and a 6th seed, and they're going to be facing off against maybe, like you say, Carolina was the division. Carolina will have to face one of those teams immediately, and that would be scary because you don't want to win your division and have to. I mean, you play at home because you won your division, but you're going to play against a team that probably could have easily won their division and had a bye because they're just that good. So it's just, again, like B said, that division is pretty scary. Those three teams would scare anybody, and one of them is going to be off because they're going to be the team that's in that division is going to have the bye. And now, mind you, Chicago could theoretically win it if these teams just fell off. San Francisco, LA, and Seattle just lost all their games, and Chicago could have the bye, but that's not going to happen. It's almost unlikely. And I think Chicago, they barely won that game against who was it? Green Bay? Yeah, it was Green Bay because Romeo Doubs lost the onside kick, so they barely won that game. But a win is a win. I just think Chicago, again, they're okay. They've turned it around and they're doing really good. But yeah, I can see who's going to represent the NFC is going to come out of the NFC West.
Yeah, I just don't see. I just don't see anybody else do it. I mean, right now, San Francisco is ahead of the Rams actually in the wild card. So this is going to be, this is going to be an important. And next, the reason why I say is Chicago winning in San Francisco would show me everything, because San Francisco is going to be playing, because they're trying to get they could actually get the number 1 seed if things go right for them.
Wow.
So you got to think about that. You got 3 teams potentially get the number 1. 4 teams actually can get the potential number 1 seed. Philadelphia can't do it. Neither can Carolina, obviously, because of their records. But Seattle, Chicago, San Francisco, and LA all have chances to do that. So,
well, the experts are looking at, of course, the Eagles and Bills are going to be playing. The Bills are negative 1.5. The experts are favoring the Bills at home. Josh Allen's foot had been bothering him, but he's expected to play through the pain. Kind of like we were talking about Matt Stafford earlier, like these players that are the greatest, they play through the pain. Bears and 49ers game, -3. That's going to come down to a field goal, guys. Despite the Bears having a better record, the analysts are trusting San Francisco's defense at home and a must-win for the seeding that B just explained. Seattle and the Panthers, that game is going to come down to 1 score. They are saying -7. So there were some people out there that actually had us losing 24-13, like 9 to 10 points. But the majority in Vegas has -7. So it's going to come down to 1 score, which makes me feel decent, which means we can play through this if Bryce does what he's been doing with the game clock management. That's how he beat the Rams. He ate up 13 minutes of the third quarter against the Rams. And that, I know, had to be, if you don't want to score, keep him off the field. That's what he did in conscious football, clock management, game management, and just being calm in all circumstances. Seattle, however, is a heavy favorite to lock up the West. Geno Smith is, Geno Smith. Sam Darnold is playing at an MVP level. I had a flashback there. Geno for a small moment. Wish it was Geno. Playing at MVP level of play there. And so you have to look at him. And then the Steelers and Browns game, that's going to come down to 3 points as well. These are all the big games that have the playoff implications coming up this weekend. Sportsline has this an A+ pick for Pittsburgh to clinch the division. As we wrap up the last 7 minutes here, let's talk about some of the big stories, as this is our finale for 2025. Big stories that gripped us. Other than the Antonio Brown arrest, he is still awaiting trial. These are serious charges. The attempted unaliving. He was extradited from, where was it, Dubai, y'all? I forget where he was.
Dubai.
Got over here, caught on camera, everything. Just a fall from grace if there ever was one. The gambling scandals. 2025 saw several high-profile suspensions across the NBA and the MLB involving betting, leading to major policy overhauls. And let's talk about that a little bit. We have a few minutes here. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. This thing is still being investigated, and we as fans are shocked. But this stuff has been going on so long; it's just now coming to light.
I wouldn't say I'm shocked. You live by the sword, you die by the sword, as I always say. If you're gonna put Vegas in everything, you're gonna have to expect everything. And I'm sorry, when you can do like anytime parlays on an app anywhere, you're gonna get those athletes in trouble one way or the other. So I can see this coming. It's corrupting it's corrupting sports.
The do as I say, don't do as I do mentality is what sports has been. Hey, we condone gambling, but we don't condone our employees gambling. But we do want to make a lot of money from it. We want to make a lot of money from gambling. This is just, like he said, corrupt, man. I mean, of course, it's temptation. It's temptation. Why can't I make a little money off of this? Why can't, it's just too, they should have kept it out. They should have kept it out of it. And I get it, it's a crap ton of money. It's an opportunity, but with the opportunity comes the potential for corruption, and obviously you see it. You've seen it in the past. I mean, was it some of the big names? Was Pete Rose? I mean, one of the biggest names. You know, some of the referees. You know, players. I mean, what's the kid's name? That it just happened to with Charlotte. He played for Charlotte in Miami. What's the guy's name?
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
He and
Chauncey Billups.
Chauncey Billups. It's just, and the mafia. I mean, it's just. Of course, there's that kind of stuff is going to happen when you just open a door. When you open a door for it, it's just going to happen. It's just scary. What type of stuff? I mean, I've watched a lot of movies. I watched Casino. I mean, and look, it's coming to fruition.
Yeah, people are acting out. People are acting out what they see in these movies, like copycat.
Yeah,
the movies are just copying what's reality.
Reality.
This stuff just went on in real life, and they try to hide it. But I mean,
they haven't even got to the depths of it yet. It gets worse as you keep going down into it. So it's
as far down as where Jimmy Hoffa is buried.
Yeah, and past that.
And of course, we have all of our college games, championship games coming up. We have the NFL being the finale. Some NBA scores, because we rarely talk about NBA. There's some games going on right now. The Celtics beat the Pacers today, 140-122. The Heat and Hawks game just wrapped up, 126-111 over the Heat over the Hawks. That game was competitive until it was not. My Hornets got it done. What's up, Charlotte? 120 over the Magic, over 120-105 over the Magic. The Raptors, 117-138. Washington Wizards just shellacked them down. Bulls fell by 1 point. Well, actually, that game is still going on. Bulls and 76ers, 99-100. They got about 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter here coming up. Then you got the Suns and Pacers game that has literally 7 seconds in the third quarter, at 1 point game for them. Bucks and Grizzlies, 10 minutes left in the third quarter, 85-92. Pistons, first quarter, 4 minutes in the first quarter versus the Jazz. A couple of points difference there. And the Clippers are going to be kicking off here in the next tipping off here, I should say, in the next 2 minutes at 10 o'clock. Clippers versus Trailblazers, and a lot of sports throughout this entire weekend. This is when the sports all overlap. It's the best time of year. It's the end of the year. I would like to personally thank Estrella for all the behind the scenes he's done this entire year, for keeping all the shows running, especially when I had to step away for school obligations, for keeping our network going, for literally being a bridge and then being the entire paved way of this entire network after the transition of our producer, Mac. As we said, we think about you, Miss Linda, always. And J-Train, thank you for always being available no matter where you are. I think you've missed one show this entire year, and that is something to be said. In sickness and in health, J-Train's always there, and even on vacation. Thank you so much for making Friday with the fellow. We would not be where we are if it was not for all of you. Thanks for the likes, love, shares. Continue to support us into 2026. J-Train, Bistrilla, and Jack Hirsch will be on tomorrow morning for the Saturday finale of the debate show. And Sunday morning, they will be kicking off at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the big sports show, where they will talk about college football as well as NFL and more playoff implications. We will see you guys next year on this show, 2026, January 2nd, next Friday at 9 p.m. And don't forget, New Year's Eve, Wednesday, December 31st, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I may come on. If we win against the Seahawks, I'll come on live. If not, you'll see a recap of Pearson with the Jabberwock. But make sure you guys continue to support and love. We appreciate you guys. God bless you and your families. And may you have a blessed and prosperous 26.
Peace.